It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
What up, Clay Triots? It's your boy, Technically Clay, streaming at you from maybe rainy. It's at least cloudy. It looks like it's about to rain. St. Louis, Missouri. How are you doing? I am having a good day, and I hope you're having a good day. Since the last time you saw me, I did the huge. That is, of course, played Slay the Spire 2 and watched Stargate, and that was about it. Then I went to bed, I woke up, and went to work, worked out over lunch. I did leg day. It's always, I always give myself a pat on the back any day I do leg day. By far my least favorite day, and it always makes me want to take a nap. So, so if I'm a little low energy today, maybe that's why. Then finished off the work day, had some leftovers for lunch, same thing as yesterday, and came right here to stream for you, the viewer. Hello. Today we're going to be going over a lot of the Iran updates. I'm going to start with the press conference. I love me a good press conference. So this is going to be Hegseth. Hegseth, he's going to tell us the straight truth. He's not going to lie to us. We all trust Hegseth to tell us the truth about the state of the war. So this was from 9 hours ago. I'm probably, like I usually do, I'm probably going to skip over the Mark Wayne Mullen portions because they're not usually as funny as the Kegsbreath portions. So I'm probably just going to stick to that. I don't know if I'll watch the whole thing. It's like 30 minutes, man. And with how much I yap, that means it's like an hour if I do, if I just watch this. So I'm probably just gonna, I'll go through what I can, and then when I feel like I'm getting bored, then I'll move on. So anyway, let's go ahead and start it off right. We're gonna watch Kegsbreath yell at us for not doing our patriotic duty and buying all of his bullshit.
It's not necessary. We're not looking for a fight. But Iran also cannot be allowed to block innocent countries and their goods from an international waterway. Iran is the clear aggressor, harassing civilian vessels, threatening mariners from every nation, indiscriminately and weaponizing a critical choke point for
You can't, I mean, you can't really say that Iran is ever the aggressor when all of this was started by America. This was a war of choice by America. Iran was not going to attack anybody. There was no imminent danger. Even Marco Rubio at the very beginning said the reason that America attacked was because they knew Israel was going to attack, and because they knew that Iran would retaliate to Israel's attack, and therefore they had to attack as well as a preemptive strike. Like, so that's just obviously fake on its face.
its own financial benefit, or at least trying to. For too long, Iran has been harassing ships, shooting at civilian tankers from all nations, and trying to
Thanks for the
impose a
sub.
tolling system.
Invisible.
Iran's plan, a form of international extortion, is unacceptable. That ends with Project Freedom. 2 U.S. commercial ships, along with American destroyers, have already safely transited the strait, showing the lane is clear. We know the Iranians are embarrassed by this fact. They said they control the strait. They do not. So American ships led the way, commercial and military.
I did a little bit of research like about this whole 2 ship situation or whatever. As far as I know, we led 2 American ships through, and then nothing. Like we're not doing escort missions or anything. As far as I know, those were the only 2 that have gotten through since then. And Iran did fire on those Navy ships, and America says they missed. Iran says they hit. I'm primed to take Iran's word more than America's, because America always lies about always lies about what Iran was able to hit or whatever. So if we get a news report about a laundry fire or whatever coming up soon on one of those ships, then we'll see.
Shouldering the initial risk from the front, as Americans always do. And right now, hundreds more ships from nations around the world are lining up to transit. CENTCOM, along with partner nations, is in active communication with hundreds of ships, shipping companies, and insurers. All of these ships from all around the world want to get out of the Iranian trap that they have been stuck inside. As a direct gift from the United States to the world, we have established a powerful red, white, and blue dome over the strait. American destroyers are on station, supported by hundreds of...
What is their obsession with dome, man? Like there's the Iron Dome, the Golden Dome, and now the red, white, and blue dome. How many fucking types of dome are there? It's fucking Pokemon games at this point. Like they just it's gonna be Sapphire Dome, Ruby Dome, Diamond Dome, Pearl Dome. Like what's next, guys? What do we think?
The fighter jets, helicopters, drones, and surveillance aircraft, providing 24/7 overwatch for peaceful commercial vessels, except Iran's, of course. Which is why our ironclad blockade remains in full effect as well. In fact, 6 ships tried to run the blockade out of Iranian ports as Project Freedom commenced, and they were all turned around.
If they're talking about the fast boats or whatever, didn't they attack some of them? I thought that they were shot at, and potentially some of them were sunk. Now Iran's claiming that some of those were just fishing vessels. I don't know. They might have just been gunboats who were doing military stuff in the national waters of Iran. But we might get more information about that in the future. But yeah, I think that there were some gunboats or fast boats or whatever they call them that were shot down.
This is more than strategy, it's also humanitarian. By breaking Iran's illegal stranglehold, we're protecting the lives and livelihoods of sailors from dozens of countries, securing global energy routes, and preventing shortages that hit the world's poorest people the hardest. Once again, America is using its strength to lift up others.
You know what would have been a much better strategy from my assessment is what I said from the very beginning. When Iran said that they were going to like open up the strait. When the ceasefire started as a gesture of goodwill or whatever, they said like, or as a part of the ceasefire, they said, okay, we're going to open up the Strait of Hormuz. And then America came out and said, oh, great. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Iran. And then immediately after they said, oh, actually, we're keeping up our blockade. That immediately like was like, okay, well then why would Iran just let your ships go through, but not let theirs? So immediately that changed this whole thing around. And that immediately started the timer though. If they would have just opened up the blockade, then there could have potentially been, I'm not saying that all of the ships would have, but there could have been some free flow of traffic through there, especially if they were communicating with the IRGC and stuff to get through. They could have had, I think that maybe some ships would have taken on the risk of actually going through the strait if that would have happened, which would have meant that some energy, some oil would have been getting onto the market, which would have extended a lifeline to America, who is much more dependent on these markets being good than Iran. So now America is just in this pickle where all of these ships they say are stuck or whatever, really they're just not willing to traffic through there, risk their lives, and also all of the money of the people who are paying to ship all this oil to export it. Like they don't want to risk it being sunk and losing all of that merchandise, so it's just not like it's just now we're back in the same situation that we were in before, where we could have been like, from an American imperial perspective, we could have been in a much better strategic position if we had just not made that big blunder.
Iran is trying to subjugate the world. To what remains of Iran's forces, if you attack American troops or innocent commercial shipping, you will face overwhelming and devastating American firepower. The president has been very clear about this.
He threatens that every fucking time, man. It doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't mean anything. He threatens fire and fury, destroying the civilization, like every single time. It doesn't mean anything. This is just words. Like,
we prefer this to be a peaceful operation, but are locked and loaded to defend our people, our ships, our aircraft, and this mission without hesitation. To Iran, let innocent ships pass freely. These international waters belong to all nations, not to Iran to tax, toll, or control.
What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? There's no such thing as international law anymore. I keep saying it. I'll say it again. And we let international law die in Gaza. It is dead. It is gone. It is might makes right now. That's the world that these people wanted. That's the world that we are now living in. Iran has the might to control the Strait of Hormuz. That means they have the right to do it. That's the world that they created. You can't cry about that anymore. Like, this is the world we live in now.
To our partners, allies, and the rest of the world, this is a temporary mission for us. As I've said before, the world needs this waterway a lot more than we do. We're stabilizing the situation so commerce can flow again, but we expect the world to step up. At the appropriate time and soon, we will hand responsibility back to you. To the incredible Americans executing this mission right now, simply thank you. Your courage, your readiness, your unmatched professionalism and precision are why the world can breathe easier today and every day. You are and always will be the greatest fighting force in human history, unmatched always.
The world's definitely breathing way easier, right, people?
Project Freedom is underway. Commerce will be flowing, and America is once again leading with strength, clarity, and purpose for the benefit of the entire world. Our will is unshakable. God bless our troops, and God bless the mighty United States Navy as well. Mr. Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Okay. Like I said, I'm gonna skip over I think it's Mark Wayne Mullen or whatever section, so that we can get back to the full unhinged Pete Kegsbreath portion, which is always my favorite.
Our nation's work,
especially when there's questions, like when they get to the question portion, and he gets to point at all of the unpatriotic press people who are saying, it seems like this war isn't going that great, and then he's like, how dare you? How dare you? Let's get into it.
Very good. We'll take a few questions. Go ahead.
Thank you. Alexandra Ingersoll, One America News. Do you assess Mr. Secretary, do you assess what's left of this small boat fleet to be a significant threat or a nuisance to be managed? And then secondly, what is your message to critics who say that the U.S. doesn't have a strategy in this mission?
Well, any threat needs to be taken seriously. And just like those 6 attack boats that the chairman mentioned were taken seriously and dealt with before there were any real threat to the American military vessels that they were approaching. And that is it. Small craft like that are all that Iran has left. Their ability to close with a destroyer of the.
Dude, what did they think Iran's navy was before this? Like, I'm serious. I don't understand what they thought Iran's navy was before this. Iran's navy was like, they didn't have aircraft carriers. Like, they didn't, like, you know that, right? Like, they know that, right? Like, maybe they had some like mid-size like gunboats or something, but they didn't have like big ass boats. Like, I would say most of their like naval assets were these like small fast boats.
Capabilities that we have is limited, but we're going to take it very seriously and kinetically, quickly. We're not going to allow a threat to gather.
Yeah, the problem for these people is there's no way to get rid of every single boat. It's impossible. Even if you did somehow get rid of every single boat, what, you think Iran can't keep producing boats right now? Like, yeah, they'll just make more. Like, what are you talking about?
And I can tell you, even from just this morning, the strategy remains laser focused. In fact, what I think you see from Project Freedom is that we're not allowing ourselves to get distracted. This is a separate and distinct effort, temporary in nature, that we plan to hand over to the world. The world has expressed a desire to be a part of this, as is often.
I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. If this ends with like America tucking tail and running or whatever, and just saying, okay, it's the world's job now. Immediately what's going to happen is Iran will just like these countries will just start making deals with Iran. Like it has been recognized by the world. It is recognized by everybody that Iran can militarily control the Strait of Hormuz. So whatever Iran says is what goes. If Iran does $2 million per boat tolls, that's what it's going to be. And all of these deals, all of these countries that are supposed to come in here and like do what America couldn't, somehow miraculously, they're going to come in and with their like 1/10 the size navies and stuff and like open this up. No, they're going to just make deals. It'll be way cheaper for them to just make deals with Iran. So that's what's going to happen if America does decide to just turn tail and run like they did with the Houthis.
In the case, or maybe almost always the case, American leadership is required. So the president was willing to undertake this, send commercial ships through, send destroyers in, provide this red, white, and blue bubble of protection, and encourage the world to step up. Because ultimately, this waterway is, as I said, far more crucial to the rest of the world, and they need to have the ability to defend it. So I think this is a reflection of a laser-focused strategy, actually, right here.
Morning, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman. David Zia, Real America's Voice. I wanted to ask you of any of the fast boats that have been either sunk or identified, are there any armaments larger than, say, small, AK-47 type stuff, or any anti-ship cruise missiles identified? And my second question is, if there's a divide between the IRGC and Tehran, is there a way to get Tehran to agree to let us go after the IRGC that is doing these attacks without violating the ceasefire?
What? No way, dude. What are you talking about? What? You think that the IRGC and like the political, they might have differences for sure. They might have differences in terms of the strategy that they're going for. Do you really think that either like that the Iranian political class is going to align with America against the IRGC? That is a stupid question.
Well, right now, anything coming at our crafts, regardless of what's on it, has to be defended against, and that's the case. I don't know what the exact armaments were on those fast boats.
Small arms, nothing significant on the fast boats.
Rifles or small machine guns. There were some small coastal cruise missiles shot down as well. So there's been there's some frothiness in the beginning aspects of this that were dealt with very directly by our destroyers, and we're communicating both overtly and quietly to the Iranians to allow this defensive operation to happen on behalf of the world. There are some actions the IRGC takes sometimes that are outside the bounds of what maybe Iranian negotiators would like. That's their job to rein that in and ultimately create a condition for a deal, right? That's not something I talked about in these remarks, but that's happening in real time. Iran has an ability to make that deal. But what we're demonstrating with Project Freedom is they don't control the strait. I mean, we know Iran is embarrassed by the fact that our blockade is holding, and we can run ships through, and we're going to help the world run ships through. And if they hold it at
you got 2 ships through, congratulations, and you got shot at and like probably hit during that time period. You're not going to be able to do this at scale if that's what it takes to do it. Number one, like, okay, the economic cost of that would be insane. But then also, like, are you going to do that indefinitely? But then also, though, like, the people, like I said before, the people who own and operate these ships as like exporters or importers or whatever aren't going to take that risk. They're not going to want to take that risk. The only ships that you were able to get through were American ships that you probably said, hey, you're going to fucking take this risk. We are going to make you take this risk because we want to show some sort of like strategic dominance here or whatever, or like show that it's capable for us to do it. Like that's what happened. And so like this is not Iran still definitely 100% controls the strait.
Issue, the whole world knows who's doing it. It's not us. We're willing to open it up. It's Iran, and that creates a dilemma for them. We hope they make a deal. Yes.
Thank you, sir. My first question is for General Kane, Mary Margaret with the Daily Wire. You said
Raising
that
Cane, that's who it is. I always forget. I get Markwayne Mullen and Raising Cane mixed up because they both have insane names.
the attacks by Iran so far are below the threshold of restarting major combat operations. What is that threshold? And then for Secretary Hegseth, are there still concerns about mines in the Strait? And can you kind of clarify these reports of kamikaze dolphins that we've heard about?
I haven't heard the kamikaze.
I haven't heard that either. I'm with you, Raisin Cane. That I had not heard about kamikaze dolphins. That would be a crazy new tech, especially considering how cheap drones are. I cannot imagine the economics of training dolphins to bring. Like, come on, it can't possibly be cheaper than like buying a drone from China for like $10,000 or whatever.
That's a dolphin thing. It's like sharks with laser beams, right? The threshold of restarting is a political decision above my pay grade. What I'll say is it's low harassing fire right now. It feels like Iran is grasping at straws to try to do something.
That was a good question to ask, because the reality is that Iran is shooting at the UAE right now. They are like unilaterally like just shooting, like they've shot multiple missile barrages at the UAE, and America is not doing anything, right? This is kind of showing that America does not want to re-enter this as a hot war, which is interesting, right? This is good info to have. America wants to keep up the perception that the ceasefire is holding. So now it's up to Iran to like, I mean, I'm not saying it's up to Iran, but now what Iran is probably going to do is start testing lines. They're going to keep pushing, and they're going to see, okay, if I do this, is America going to consider it a reasonable like escalation amount that America is going to respond to, and they're going to keep going. And essentially it's just it does two things. It makes America look incredibly weak. Whenever America does not respond to these types of things, like the UAE and whatnot, the strikes on the UAE, it makes them look really, really weak. And it shows that Iran, is holding more cards, because like Iran, I don't think is that worried about getting back into a hot war, because I think they were probably in a better bargaining position when it was a hot war. So I don't think they're that concerned, even if America did decide to go back into it. But I think the calculus from them is that America is not capable of maintaining a war at the capacity that they did for the first 6 weeks indefinitely. From the estimates of the missiles, the missile stockpiles being down to about 50%, that means America has a grand total of like 12 weeks that they're able to like engage in warfare in the manner that they were before. Yeah, and so I think that it is really starting to seem like America doesn't have the stomach to get back into this, at least from a pure air campaign perspective. Maybe they'll do some sort of like, maybe they would be more willing to do some sort of ground campaign or something. I don't know, though.
across the southern flank. To your question, David, their command and control structure remains very fractured, and I think they're struggling to maintain control down echelon at the edge, but it's still pretty low level.
It's crazy how successful they are then.
And I can't confirm or deny whether we have kamikaze dolphins, but I can confirm they don't, ultimately.
Is that a joke? Good one.
Any follow-on effort, if there are mines identified, would be something that
Leave the jokes to me, buddy, okay?
some of our units could undertake or the world could undertake. But right now we know we have a lane of safe passage that commercial shipping can flow through.
Thank you, Secretary Hegseth. Last 24 hours or so, Iran's fired at us, we fired at Iran. Just going to ask you more directly, is the ceasefire over?
No, the ceasefire is not over. Ultimately, this is a separate and distinct project, and we expected there would be some churn at the beginning, which happened. And we said we would defend and defend aggressively, and we absolutely have. Iran knows that, and ultimately, the president's going to make a decision whether anything were to escalate into a violation of a ceasefire. But certainly, we would urge Iran to be prudent in the actions that they take to keep that underneath this threshold. This is about the straits. This is about freedom of navigation. This is about international
This is about the
waterways.
straits, people.
This is about
where are my straits at?
Free flow of commerce, all the things that happened before, and only Iran is contesting. So right now, the ceasefire certainly holds, but we're going to be watching very, very closely. Absolutely.
Secretary Hegseth.
James, go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, thank you. General, thank you. I want to first express my gratitude and admiration for the work you do and for everyone involved in our armed forces.
Dude, stop sucking him off.
For the
You're on camera. Come on, you can't be sucking him off like that.
accomplishments of Operation Epic Fury, which I think are too often dismissed too lightly. But those accomplishments don't obscure,
Talking about me.
a central default that has occurred here, and I would like you both to address it. On the first day of this conflict, President Trump addressed the Iranian people directly and said, when we're finished, take over your government. It'll be yours to take. And then on the seventh day of the conflict, in a Truth Social post, the president said, quote, there will be no deal with Iran except, all caps, exclamation mark, unconditional surrender. What happens to that pledge to the Iranians? And when did the president decide to capitulate on his demand for unconditional surrender?
Well, James, I wouldn't. You started out nicely, but you ended.
Yeah, I was gonna say you really buttered him up for the end. You can never say that you're not allowed as the press to say that the president has capitulated. That's illegal. That's illegal under U.S. standards. Okay.
Exactly where we knew you would end. The president hasn't capitulated on anything. He holds the cards. We maintain the upper hand, and Project Freedom only strengthens that hand. And so he will ensure that whatever deal is made or whatever end state is reached creates ensuring that Iran never has a nuclear weapon, which is number one, and he's been focused on that, and the deal and discussions are centered on that. And what the Iranian people take advantage of.
If there's any actual deal that comes through, it's going to be around the nuclear stuff. That's the one thing that I could see Iran actually making some sort of like agreement about. And I would guess that it would be like similar to the JCPOA, except with like the other, like with other stuff on top of it, like for Iran, like, you know, sanctions relief and that sort of stuff. But like in exchange for it, but like whatever deal happens, it's not going to be as good as the JCPOA at this point, because Iran is just in a much stronger position now than they were before.
After the fact is up to them, and he's been very clear about that. And maybe you do it now, maybe it happens later, but ultimately he's also been clear. We're not going to entangle this into some nation-building project. Our objectives are clear. They've been pursued from day one. Hopefully the Iranian people take advantage of that, because they're being taken advantage of by this regime. As you know, 45,000 Iranians, innocent Iranians, killed.
I'm glad that they've finally stuck with a number for more than a couple weeks. They've been on 45,000 for a while. The ticker that I have on the corner of my screen that just goes up every time that the number of protesters goes up has been stuck at 45,000. I thought we had potential for endless growth when it comes to the amount of protesters that were killed by Iran. I thought we were going to get up to like, you know, 1 million, 10 million, 90 million, like, but nope. It seems like it's stuck at 45,000. That's the potential we got.
Killed before the outset of this, that's what this government does, kills their own innocent civilians. Getting out from underneath that is going to be a challenge of the Iranian people, and we certainly hope they take advantage of that. Thank you.
Follow,
Actually, right there.
Can I
Thank
have
you.
one follow, please?
No, go
if
ahead.
I may.
Everybody else
One follow.
follows directives. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Can you share any information regarding the South Korean ship that was reportedly hit by Iran? Is Seoul in contact with the U.S. military about it? And is there any indication that they would heed Trump's call made on social media to join Project Freedom?
We hope so. We're in contact with that ship, CENTCOM, I should say, and the Maritime Coordination Forces are in touch. And I think targeting like that is a reflection of the indiscriminate nature of what Iran is doing. We hope South Korea would step up, just like we hope Japan would step up, just like we hope Australia would step up, just like we hope Europe.
Dude, they're on some hopium, man. You're taking a lot of hopium. None of them are capable. None of them are even as capable as our military, and our military was unable to do it. So I don't know. They're just living on hopium at this point.
Steps up, but we're not waiting for them to do so. We're looking to set the conditions to hand to them. But the president was clear in his truth message that, hey, this is your ship. You should take part in helping to defend it.
I guess I can wait 5 minutes.
We very much hope they do. Go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, in terms of new U.S. intelligence reports suggest that the timeline for the war in Iran to get a nuclear weapon has not changed since last summer, still at 9 to 12 months. Is that intelligence wrong? How can this be after so much bombing? And for General Kane, going on back onto what you're talking about in the Strait of Hormuz, the president recently said that the blockade is even more effective than bombing. So why didn't we start the campaign with the blockade? And initially, how many planned ships do you plan to escort or take through commercial ships to the Strait of Hormuz today or in the coming days?
Well, we don't discuss the specifics about intel, and anybody that does shouldn't be, and I can't confirm or deny whether that is indeed correct. Speculation, as far as I'm concerned, coming from you. But ultimately, what Operation Midnight Hammer did in the obliteration of those facilities was set back their program. And then, because of the efforts of that 12-day war, the president was able to recognize that this threat, while they continued to seek nuclear capabilities, their will was still there to seek a nuclear bomb. Ultimately, they were creating a conventional umbrella of so many missiles and so many capabilities that no one would want to challenge them. Think of the North Korea. This is the North Korea strategy.
This is where they're having such a hard time with this, because the reason is that the nuclear thing was just a red herring. Like that was just an excuse, and they chose the nuclear option as the reason because it's so nebulous, and they can both simultaneously be like weeks away from a bomb, and also we've set them back 1,000,000 years, and it's going to take them 1,000,000 years to develop a bomb again. Like it can be both at once. Like it's just this nebulous concept that nobody can verify. That's why they use it as an excuse. The reason that we got into it, though, is obviously because of Israel. Like, because Israel is in a very bad strategic position right now, and they see like this is their last hurrah, like their last possibility of getting the stuff they want. So they convinced Trump to do this. The nuclear stuff is so silly. I assume that nobody, at least who's watching me, takes any of that shit seriously. Like, yes, Iran has like probably 60% enriched uranium, and it is all probably fine because they store it underneath like full ass mountains. Like, have you ever tried bombing through a mountain? Like, come on. So it's all, yes, it is probably all fine, and this has not impacted that whatsoever. But again, it's all pointless because that was not a real thing. Who cares? Like.
We have so many conventional capabilities, you won't do something about it, and underneath that, we're going to develop more nuclear capabilities. So the will was still there. President Trump had the courage to say we have to dismantle and take on those conventional capabilities while the nuclear facilities are watched 24/7 and overwatched, and we will ensure one way or another, hopefully Iran chooses a deal, that they give up those ambitions, give up those capabilities, and we're able to confirm that every step of the way. So that has been, President Trump's been focused on it. He's set them back like no other president. He ripped up the terrible deal that would have given them a bomb. He took care of it in Midnight Hammer. We're watching it right now, and ultimately feel good about the fact that the end state will ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. Go ahead.
Sir, I'll let CENTCOM talk to the number of ships they're going to take through because they're the nearest ones to talking to the commercial shippers, and I don't want to get out in front of them. On the order and sequence around the military objectives, that's a decision the President and the Secretary go get us at, and at the time we were...
I'm not going to lie, I'm getting bored. So I think that's good enough. I'm going to call it on the Kegsbreath presser. Honestly, on the unhinged meter, he was relatively tame. He was probably like a 7 out of 10, where usually he's like a 10 out of 10 every time. So, I think we got we got to analyze some spin from the American side. So I think that's always, a good exercise for people to do. Okay, let's go and move on to another Iran video. Now we're going to hear, I guess, what Trump has to say about the Iran war and maybe a little bit of analysis from some experts. So this is from BBC News. This is, Iran will be blown off the face of the earth if it attacks U.S. vessels, says Trump. Well, newsflash, they already did. They already attacked U.S. vessels. But let's go ahead and watch this and see what's going on here.
And we start in the Middle East with concerns mounting. The fragile ceasefire between the US and Iran is under severe strain. President Trump said on Monday the US has struck 7 Iranian small boats as it works to open the Strait of Hormuz, severely constricted now for over 2 months. The UAE and South Korea both reported strikes on ships in the vital channel on Monday, and the UAE also said a fire broke out at the oil port of Fujairah after an Iranian attack. But the shipping company Maersk told the...
By the way, that I think that was like one of the only facilities that the UAE could ship oil through. So that being out is like a huge deal. It means like they're essentially like no longer to make any money from oil, except for maybe like land routes and land bridges and stuff. So that's a pretty big deal.
BBC, one of its US-flagged vessels had successfully left the strait with US military protection under what Trump has called Project Freedom. In turn, it's been labeled...
I'm glad that they got away from the Operation Epstein Fury. I think that they were having a hard time. The internet had already made up its mind. So now that they're on Project Freedom, that's a lot harder to meme around with, I feel like, because the problem was always that Operation Epic Fury is so like 12-year-old coded that it was like nobody could take it seriously. And so then obviously they wanted to meme on it. Project Freedom just sounds like a normal ass, like American, hoorah name for an operation.
Project Deadlock by Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, who says there is no military solution to a political crisis. In recent hours, the White House has released a statement saying that the United States is undertaking a humanitarian initiative to restore freedom of navigation for commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, while maintaining a successful naval blockade on Iranian ports, asserting United States dominance over the waterways. Here's the president speaking on Monday evening at the White House.
They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment, they have no radar, they have no nothing. They have no leaders, actually. The leaders happen to be gone also. But can't let them have a nuclear weapon, or you'd have problems like nobody would believe. And it's going very well.
Well, Jacob Larson is Chief Safety and Security Officer of the Baltic and International Maritime Council. It's the largest association of ship owners in the world. I asked him for his take on the situation in the Strait of Hormuz.
Since yesterday, Iran has again demonstrated that they're able to project power into the Strait of Hormuz, and that the US does not have sea control of that area. And to the shipping industry, of course.
This is, by the way, from an actual, like a ship. It sounds like an organization that is real serious about doing shipping and stuff. Like, these are serious people. And so if you don't buy my word for it as how unbelievably how impossible it is for America to actually free up these shipping things. Listen to this guy.
area. And to the shipping industry, of course, it's quite problematic that ships are now again being attacked as the consequence of Trump's decision to violate Iran's terms. Let's see how it all pans out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming they're talking about what I said earlier. The fact that America didn't open up the the entire waterway as soon as Iran said we're going to start letting people through. As a part of the ceasefire. I assume that's what he's talking about. But also, in a similar note, like, they should also be pissed at America for just, like, doing this in general from, like, you know, the start of the war, like, entering into this war at all and making all of these the most obvious repercussions in the world come true, like, become reality. Things that used to be hypotheticals that were, like, always known would happen are just, like, now happening, and it's all America's fault. So, I mean, honestly, it really is. It really is all America's fault, because in the end, Israel is an extension of America, and America can say no to Israel because we are the superpower here. We're the ones with the guns. We can say no to Israel. And we didn't. So, like, this is not the best situation for these ship runners.
The question is, for how long are the two parties able to continue to maintain their current military posture? Will Iran be able to continue to exercise a degree of control over the Strait of Hormuz, or will the US eventually be able to break that dominance that Iran currently has over the Strait?
I'll just go ahead and tell you, buddy, Iran's going to maintain it. Like, that's just how it is. Also, not just throughout the war, through the foreseeable future. So just get used to that. Get used to that reality and start making accommodations to it.
Well, Goldman Sachs has warned that global oil stocks are approaching their lowest levels for 8 years, and the speed of depletion is a concern. The price of the benchmark Brent crude was up some 6% on Monday. In the face of the ongoing tensions, it's still trading at around $113 a barrel. Well, Goldman estimates that total global oil stocks we're now at 101 days of global demand, with refined stocks much lower. Meanwhile, the Iranian economy is facing a deepening crisis with rapidly rising prices, falling currency value, and prospects of the oil exports grinding to a halt.
That doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to be honest. During wartime, stuff like that does not matter. The same shit happened to Ukraine. Like, and Ukraine's still trucking, like, 5 years into this war. So, like, their economy is trash. Their GDP dropped by like 20% or whatever. Like, that's just normal. Like, we're in a war shit. Like, yes, there is some impact to not allowing Iran to trade oil, but it's nowhere near as much as the impact to the rest of the world from not receiving the oil.
Tiba Thacker is Regional Director for Middle East and Africa at the Economist Intelligence Unit. I asked her how concerning Goldman Sachs' warning is.
Very much so, I would say. We're a third month into the conflict. And I think it's important to understand what Project Freedom is all about. Yes, it's partly perhaps it's about humanitarian, but it is also to address this growing crisis with the geopolitical energy crisis that we've been seeing since the beginning of March. And I think it's very, very important to distinguish what Project Freedom really means. It sounds very robust than it actually is. And it's very important to understand they're not securing the passage of the commercial vessels. They're actually guiding them that have been stuck there for a long time. Very much the case. It's
yeah, they're giving them a map. They're saying, here you go, like, go this route, like a treasure map, like a pirate map. They're giving them, and they're saying, go this way and avoid the mines. Like, that's basically what they're doing. They're not going to at scale be escorting ships like they did with those 2 American ships that they got through for the propaganda win or whatever. Yeah, that's not what they're going to be doing.
The market really is seeing a distinction here, and this is where the prices comes in. Despite this Project Freedom announcement, which the Iranians have said is project dead already, it does not remove the core risk. Iran is still able to disrupt shipping, and shipping companies and insurers will remain super cautious. This effectively means constrained flow of oil, gas,
1 gunboat, 1 missile. That's all it takes.
Other commodities. And very much we expect prices to remain very elevated, reflecting disruptive supplies, the glut in the oil market already. Even if the war ends tomorrow, it will not be an instant reset. It will take several months for confidence to rebuild, insurance costs to come down, shipping to pick up, and supply chains to stay.
Well, yeah, and we're also in America. We're already like fucked from the fertilizer angle. I heard like 70% of farms aren't growing this year or whatever, are going fallow. Like that's like not good. That means the prices of like food and stuff is going to go through the roof. So, okay, let's go ahead and move on. I gotta get up to the next video topic. So,
the notion of calling me.
We're gonna go over to the world of the Daily Wire people. So for those unaware, Ben Shapiro's empire, his empire of traditional conservative values, it's fallen apart, it's crumbling, and I'm here for it, to be honest. The Daily Wire style of content, this hyper produced buttoned up suit type of stuff, is just like not what the base wants anymore. And so that's like the primary thing, I think, is lots of people are moving on, and so they're not getting very many views anymore, and it's leading to apparently like maybe layoffs and stuff. I don't know, we're gonna find out from this video. This is from Megyn Kelly, by the way. Megyn Kelly is a conservative. She is I think she's one of these like starting to turn on Trump, like she's like anti-Trump curious, like like she's like maybe she's waiting for the winds to really blow, I think, a little bit more in the direction before she abandons Trump. Like I would say like she's very similar to like Tucker Carlson, right, in terms of where they are in terms of the still being like aligned with MAGA and Trump. So let's go and watch this. This is a video from Megyn Kelly, what's really behind the massive layoffs at the Daily Wire, with Emily Jashinsky.
The notion of calling me an anti-Semite.
Oh, she's the Breaking Points person. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that she was going to be on here.
So absurd. The listening audience to the show knows what a lie that is. But like the outside people, they don't know. not everybody listens to the show on a daily basis or enough to know. But you're seeing it now, right? You're seeing it. Like the people who have made that their calling card to just look at all conservatives with doubts about Israel and say, you're an anti-Semite. They're failing. Their shows are failing. And
that's a big part of it too. Ben Shapiro is like just very, very Zionist. Now, don't get that conflated. Like he hired Candace Owens. Like he was fine with anti-Semitism, but when people started becoming anti-Israel, that's when he started, like he started going pretty nutty with his commentary. And as the GOP itself as well has become more anti-Israel, because like everybody's becoming more anti-Israel, and in general it's hard to it's a very like propped up thing, right? It's very like it's the polling and like the ability for Israel to do what it does is very propped up by billions upon billions of dollars. Once the facade cracks, it's relatively quick for the collapse in his views and stuff. And so Ben Shapiro, as an avid Zionist, was very he's having a really hard time navigating this particular moment in the conservative like media ecosystem. That's only one of the problems though at the Daily Wire. Like what I said at the beginning was also a major problem, is that it's hyper produced. They spend ungodly amounts of money on stupid things. Like there's lots of problems here, but that's another one that's hitting them.
I do think it's in part why we saw what I consider to be very sad news about the Daily Wire on Friday, where they had mass layoffs. And this is a company that for most of its existence has been near and dear to my heart. And I still have a lot of friends over there and I am rooting for them. And even though I've had this massive blow up with Ben Shapiro,
I'm not, just so you're aware.
He initiated. I have never been anything but good to Ben. And we were dealing with each other behind the scenes in a very lovely manner before he attacked me publicly at the Turning Point thing in December. I'm rooting for Ben too. I don't want to see Ben suffer. I don't want to see his company implode, but it's...
Yeah, I think she's also an Israel skeptic. I don't know that much about Megyn Kelly though, to be honest. So take everything I'm saying about her with a grain of salt.
It seems to be. There are reports of 50 to 60% of the staff having been laid off. They officially denied it. But I think the problem with the Daily Wire is multifaceted. They invested tens of millions of dollars in this dragon movie, which they they kept behind a
Pendragon cycle or whatever. The only thing I know about that is Chapo Trap House had a like review of it that was really funny. Was that the one that starred the Ben Shapiro lookalike, the femme Ben Shapiro, Femme Shapiro, whatever her name is? what is her name? I can't remember, but yeah, that one was a wild saga. That was one of those ones that I'm like, I didn't understand, because they usually when they're doing their movie stuff, it's like very obviously like anti-woke movies, right? Like it's like the basketball one, whatever, I forgot what that one was called, where they like the anti-trans basketball one. Like it's usually stuff like that is like what they're spending their money on. The Pendragon Cycle was like supposed to be like just a normal like epic, like a fantasy epic or something. I don't understand how you're injecting your politics into it. I don't understand why you're wanting to make this. I mean, actually, I do kind of understand. It's because he's in his heart, he is like, he wants to be a Hollywood writer. That was what he originally wanted to be before he wasn't talented enough to do it, and did the inevitable pivot that everybody who is untalented does, to doing conservative like grifting. It's the easiest move to make when you're untalented. So like that's like, I think probably the reason that they do stuff like that. But yeah, they spend an ungodly amount of money on that shit.
It had no chance of paying off for them. It was just,
I'll be right back,
absolutely foolhardy. They expanded into, they sort of like, you know, they had mission creep, Emily, you know, like now they're selling razors and they're selling chocolate and they're selling, I don't know, all sorts of different products, as opposed to just like doing the news, you know. And they started to do all this like children's programming and movie making. And it's like, I think if they just stuck to their core mission of doing the news in a more fair and balanced way, and hadn't gotten hung up on all these other projects, and yes, indeed, the Israel first nature of Ben's coverage in particular, I think they'd be fine. I think, you know, in the off election years, it's always a little slower for, you know, any podcast. So I'm sure that's a factor, but I think they would have withstood that no problem had these other factors not been there. I just think in general, the right doesn't take well to name calling, culling.
Okay, sorry. There was something I heard there that I wanted to talk about. But the children's show stuff was also very stupid, right? Because the children's show is like they wanted to make essentially like PragerU sort of style children's programming that was designed to do what they think liberals do, right? What they think liberals do is they think that liberals just in like liberal Hollywood elites are creating these shows in order to indoctrinate these kids into becoming like Marxist-Leninists or something, right? Which is stupid. It's not what they're doing. If anything, they're indoctrinating them into being liberals. Like I was a kid once, okay? And I turned out to be a liberal until I was like, you know, deprogrammed, you know, around the 2016, 2017 era when I became radicalized. But they made these shows like that were expressly designed to try to like preach conservative values to kids. The problem though is obviously, number one, most people don't really want that, like just on average, right? Just the average, like you're not going to win over anybody except like diehard conservatives to even try this out. But number two, kids don't want to be watching shows that their friends aren't watching. Like it's very important to kids in their social lives, like to like be like, oh, I heard about this show. Like I heard about you know, Frozen, right? Like, oh, have you seen Frozen? Like they'll do that when they're at school, right? And then if you're the one kid who's like, have you guys heard about what, like the mouse who hates communists, like, you know, like, or like whatever shitty ass shows they have or whatever, like like Fievel Goes Racist or you know? If you ever like that's like everybody's gonna think the kid's weird, and they're gonna be like, Mom, can we not always watch like Ben Shapiro's programming, and please let me just watch normal stuff so I can like talk to my friends about it? Like that's another thing that I thought was funny. But yeah, sorry, I heard that while I was in the bathroom, so I had to run back and talk about it with you guys.
Of the movement, anyone declaring themselves like the godfather of it, who will decide who gets to stay and who gets to go. According to Ben Shapiro, Steve Bannon had to go as of December. So did Tucker. I got lumped in there as an alleged coward in the world of Ben Shapiro for not being outspoken on his favorite issues. Barry Weiss doubled down with her free press. None of these people is doing well. The free press, not doing well. CBS is having the lowest ratings it's had in between 25 and 100 years. I don't even know if it hasn't been around for 100 years, like in a century, though, basically, since its formation under her leadership. And she's pushing all these messages on her evening newscast and her morning newscast. The people are rejecting it. They're rejecting it, Emily.
Well, they're going to reject it until every single company is owned by Miriam Adelson or whatever the person's name is. I think it's Adelson, right? Who owns CBS? Or Ellison? Is it David Ellison? Is that right? Yeah, it's Ellison. Sorry, I get names confused all the time. So Ellison, the Ellisons, until once they own every single media group, and then you won't be able to escape shitty Zionist talking points in every single show you watch. So then at that point, everybody just has to settle with shitty programming.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I mean, at the Daily Wire, one way that you can tell, I think people are rejecting it, is that, to their credit, they've allowed Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh to kind of openly dissent from some of Ben's arguments. And sometimes they do it on their live streams, which I think, again, that is a good thing. And it tells me that they know, even among their own audience, that it's sort of controversial to be totally embracing every single element of Ben's arguments. I think they also, I mean, it's an interesting new media lesson. We don't totally have the full story publicly yet, but the growth was too fast, and you have to have diversified, I think, revenue streams. Whereas if a big chunk of your revenue is based around Ben, and you want to build a big media company that does movies and TV shows and documentaries, and also has a news website, and remember they had a publishing imprint.
Well, it's also, it's an incredibly astroturf thing, right? It's very propped up by billionaires. So, I don't understand where they thought their possibility for growth was, to be honest. And the other thing, obviously, is that people don't like that buttoned up look for conservatism anymore. But that was back whenever they had to present themselves as normal. Whenever conservatives were trying to present their ideology as just normal or common sense or whatever, right? Nowadays, they don't even bother with that anymore. They don't present themselves as normal, and they don't want people who look normal to be presenting them stuff. That's why, that's why it's moving on to just more unhinged individual commentators, like Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or or just Asmongold and shit, right? That is a much more, that aligns much more with the average conservator, what they see of themselves, right? And in terms of I don't know. It's just it's much more aligned with their vision of conservatism, as opposed to this buttoned up, prim and proper show that Ben Shapiro, high production show that Ben Shapiro made.
For a while, they were doing books and children's programming, and you're reliant on probably streams of investor money, but your big
streams
pull is still Ben. At one point, it was Candace. That's a really rickety foundation for a media company in the long term, and so I think they ran into some trouble with that, where it was just, to your point, mission creep way too fast as well. Creep is probably not the right word, but mission sprinting in different directions, and it was not a good foundation for success.
Yeah, I mean, just he's doubled down on it many times. Just when President Trump decided to attack Tucker and yours truly and some others who have been skeptics of the Iran war repeatedly in some tweets a couple weeks ago, Ben retweeted his Turning Point speech, calling for us to be excommunicated from the conservative movement, saying, now seems like a good time to re-up this. Okay.
They're getting Hassan Pikered, everybody. They're getting conservative Hassan Pikered.
All right. I see you haven't moved at all off of your position.
It's curious how whether you're conservative or liberal, the one thing you are required to be is pro-Israel in both cases.
And that you get to dictate who's part of the conservative movement, who isn't. Meanwhile, I'd been at Fox News for 16 years before anybody even knew his name. Some of us have been in this media space for a very long time, fighting very important fights for decades. That includes Tucker Carlson for sure, and it also includes yours truly, and others. And he decided to double down on it. So it's like, okay, when your business is hemorrhaging, maybe cast a wide net. Maybe launch your criticisms on an individualized basis. Take on Tucker's arguments, take on mine, whatever. You think I'm not saying enough about X? Okay, you can spend your show talking about that if you want. I'm sure your audience doesn't really want to spend its day hearing about that, but okay, you could do that. As opposed to, I shall decree who is in and who is out. I appoint myself master.
Do you guys remember when he went up on and did a speech on stage about like excommunicating these people? Was it at CPAC or something? I think it's pretty obvious now which side of the, like, where the wind is blowing, right? Like with how they're like, his company is failing right now, and people like Tucker and Candace Owens are ascendant. You know, I think it's pretty obvious which way the wind is blowing, even for conservatives on being like anti-Israel. Now, a lot of these people, you know, take their anti-Israel opinions with a grain of salt. A lot of them are just grifters. They're just like straight up like, we see where they were able to see where the wind was blowing in a way that like other people either couldn't or were not willing to make the appropriate changes, even if they could see where the wind is blowing. So you don't have to give them too much credit, but they were at least able to see that.
Master of the conservative movement. That doesn't work. Liberals may like that shit, but conservatives don't. Maybe the neocon Israel First crowd likes it, but nobody else does, Emily.
Well, and listen, like,
do liberals like that? I don't know. The average liberal like person, probably not so much. Liberal pundits do. Like, they do that shit all the time. They always try to gatekeep their like the boundaries of discussion. But at least like modern, like since you know, as people have become more and more radicalized, as you're seeing like, you know, like granola moms going out and like raising like abolish ICE signs on May Day or something, you know, like ever since we've gotten to this new era, I think a lot of people are like over the whole gate, like boundary keeping of like normal, like what's allowable in polite society, to an extent, at least.
Like, we've been inside these conservative movement spaces. Like, one of the big messages that I have to people inside the conservative movement, also like Republican and Democratic Party, like, look at what just happened in Maine, where Janet Mills, the sitting governor, had to drop out of the race because Graham Plattner was so powerful. Janet Mills had all the money. They thought it was ridiculous that Plattner would ever win, and she didn't even make it to the primary. A lot of that is because institutions are less powerful than personalities now. So you can't say that, oh, we have to defer to the power of this institution. Like, remember when National Review did this to the Birchers? That doesn't work on younger people. It doesn't work on Americans anymore. It may have been true. It was true in the 70s and the 80s with William F. Buckley, but it's just not the same anymore. The institutional power is different. And so you have to make arguments. You have to appeal to individuals, and you have to have those arguments with individuals, not with institutions.
Okay. Well, I got to talk about the Daily Wire falling apart, which was really all I wanted to talk about. Give some of my technically clay opinions on the matter. So there you go. Now you have it, people. Let's go to this one. This is an interesting one. I don't really know what this is about necessarily, but the guy who so as we all know, there was a guy named Cole Allen who you know, was definitely not set up by the CIA, like directed by Trump to go and pretend like he was going to shoot up the president. I'm not trying to play too much into the conspiracy theories, but a lot of people think that it was fake, that it was all just a staged event. But anyway, so Cole Allen, he's on trial right now. They got his trial going real fast, man. But so he is, they must have had an agreement, right? The Cole Allen, when he was being talked to it by his CIA handler, was like, you know, I'm not going to be in jail for too long, right? Like, I'm not doing this if you're going to. So they're like, okay, no, we'll get that trial going right away. Anyway, apparently the federal judge in charge of his trial has apologized to him. And this, according to Fox News, is shocking. We'll see. Maybe I'll be shocked. Maybe I won't be. I don't know why he apologized to him. So let's go ahead and watch this video from Fox News. Let's see what's so shocking about this federal judge apologizing to Cole Allen.
Federal judge in D.C.
Fox and Friends.
apologizing to the man accused of attempting to assassinate President Trump at the White House Correspondents Association dinner. Quote,
They're not doing him any justice with this court drawing, by the way.
"What am I to say to Cole Allen? That this is going to be a fair process if we're putting him in a safe cell when he's not supposed to be in there. At a minimum, I should be apologizing to him. We are obligated to make sure he's taken care of. Mr. Allen, I'm sorry that things have not been the way they are supposed to."
He's not wrong. You're, obviously you are innocent until proven guilty in this country, right? You're supposed to be like according to the rules of this country, you're only supposed to be put in horrid, abhorrent, like slave-like conditions once you are actually in prison. Until that point, you're supposed to, be presumed innocent and be like given at least a little bit of like, not like either being posted for bail, like you can go home, or not being treated like a presumed criminal or whatever. Like that is kind of like a basic fact of our country. Maybe the Fox News people aren't very aware of that.
End quote. This comes just a few hours after the suspect was taken off temporary suicide watch.
Still don't know if he shot him right there or not.
He's due back in court on May 11th for a preliminary hearing. Constitutional attorney Mark Smith joins me now. Mark, I'm going to give this judge a little bit of a lesson. While you are entitled to an objectively fair trial,
I appreciate
you
the sub.
are not entitled to a subjectively fair incarceration. It's supposed.
Wait, sorry, I missed what he said there.
Entitled to a subject joins me now. Mark, I'm going to give this judge a little bit of a lesson. While you are entitled to an objectively fair trial, you are not entitled to a subjectively fair incarceration. It's supposed to be tough. That is how we deter people from committing crimes in the first place, by making jail tough and not the 4 seasons. Your thoughts on this shocking comment by this judge?
First of all, he's not in jail. I just told you the way America works is, yes, American jails are shitty. They suck. They're terrible. And they make you do slave labor for like 25 cents an hour. Like, yeah, America's prison system sucks. However, the part before you're actually, before a jury decides if you're guilty or not is not supposed to be that bad, because we have a presumption of innocence. I've been told this for my entire life. Maybe I misunderstood it, apparently.
Well, Todd, I mean, you were there at the dinner, and you know this.
I don't even know what conditions he was in. It sounds like they might have put him in solitary or something. They haven't been super clear, I feel like, on exactly what the conditions. Maybe they mentioned it at the beginning, I just missed it, but it sounded like something like related to solitary.
Judge.
Well, Todd, I mean, you were there at the dinner, and you know this guy, based on the video evidence and his comments, was trying to kill as many people as possible, including the President of the United States. So in my view, it's simply crazy for Judge Farrakwi here to criticize the conditions in which he has been currently held, because not only, obviously, has he demonstrated on videotape, no less, that he is a danger to other people, he also, by virtue of reports, indicate he was not planning on surviving this attack, which suggests there's suicidal.
I don't know what they're talking about. All I see is a Second Amendment loving patriot right here. A Second Amendment. He loved the Second Amendment so hard that he just wanted to run into the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he wanted to personally hand his signed gun to Donald Trump. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to sign this gun and be like, this is to Donald Trump, my favorite president, and for protecting the Second Amendment. And he was going to run in there as fast as he could and just give him the gun. That's what I think was going on. And according to U.S. law, we are supposed to presume that that is what he was doing until he is found guilty. Okay, people, that's what I'm telling you. I've heard this before. I'm not just making this up. I've heard that before.
Which means he's a danger to himself. And based on that evidence, it made sense for the Department of Prisons to basically keep him protecting from himself, protecting from others in a particular way. That is not unusual. And I think for the judge to criticize that, frankly, makes no sense. And I thought it's sort of a reckless comment, frankly.
Very very reckless. U.S. Attorney for D.C.
What's this? Let's see what his background looks like. One sec.
I thought is sort of a reckless comment, frankly.
Very
disarmed. Israel disarmed. First, they came for the gun owners. Okay, buddy. You don't seem like a very Second Amendment kind of guy if you're getting mad at this guy for just wanting to go give the president a bunch of guns for having, like, look at how much this guy loves guns. And you're telling me that he should be in solitary confinement? I thought that you liked the Second Amendment according to your books, but I don't know. I'm not buying it. I think that I like the Second Amendment more than he does at this point, given my commentary so far.
Jeanine Pirro writing on X, quote, "Welcome to Washington, D.C., where U.S. Magistrate Judge Faroukhi believes a defendant armed to the teeth in attempting to assassinate the president is entitled to preferential treatment."
Allegedly.
In his confinement compared to every other defendant. And you know how we know this judge made this political mark. He said Cole Allen is being treated worse than the January 6th defendants. One big problem with that. January 6th, not a banner day. We can all admit that. But nobody was trying to assassinate the president on January.
Wait, what? No one was trying to assassinate the president. They were just trying to assassinate the vice president and every other member of Congress. Like, what are they talking about? This is not a good argument. You got to get better, man. You got to get better. Do not ever become a lawyer because your arguments, like, they suck. They're garbanzo.
January 6th. Your thoughts, Mark?
Well, Todd, yeah, I think the comparison to January 6th, which was essentially a glorified trespass case, and remember, many of those charges against the January 6th defendants were thrown out by none other than the United States Supreme Court itself. But I think that what this really is the tip of the iceberg, Todd.
Everybody believes that was completely not politically motivated.
In that it shows that the problems and challenges that the Department of Justice and Jeanine Pirro is going to have in getting a conviction here, even though you have videotape evidence, you have admissions, you have selfies about what this guy was going to do and then did, still you are going to be in front of a DC jury, in front of a DC judge, many of whom...
See, this is what I call a classic, like, a classic, like, low... setting people's expectations lower. I don't know if there's a word for that. There's probably a word for that. But this is where they know, okay, Judge Jeanine Pirro has not had the best track record so far in terms of her prosecutions. I mean, maybe I should look that up just to make sure. Jeanine Pirro conviction rate. 50%. Notably below the 90% average for the Department of Justice. So on average, the DOJ gets 90% convictions. So far, Judge Jeanine Pirro has gotten 50%. Okay, so she's not very good at this. Okay, people, she's a TV host. She's a TV personality. I don't think she's been doing law for like 20 years before she got this job. So I think they're really just trying to set the expectations lower now that, like, this guy is probably going to walk. They also tried to charge him with assassinating with the president, which I don't think that they're going to be able to prove, or like attempted assassination of the president. I don't think they're going to be able to prove that. So I don't know, man. This is, yeah, I think they just know that this guy's probably going to walk, just like the Charlie Kirk dude or whatever is probably going to walk, because the entire DOJ is filled with like baboons pretending to be lawyers.
May have some version of Trump derangement syndrome, and one does wonder if that's going to pose a real challenge to a conviction in this case, despite the apparently strong evidence against Cole Allen here. But I think it is a challenge for the Department of Justice they're going to have to confront.
I'd like to look at this in a different way. Maybe they're trying their best to make sure there's nothing on appeal that can be appealed.
Okay, let's see these charges. Count 1, attempt to assassinate the president of the United States. That's the one I think they're going to have the hardest time with. Count 2, transportation of a firearm and ammunition in interstate commerce with intent to commit a felony. They can probably get him on that. Because I do think they could prove that he wanted to go in there, like attempted murder or something. I just think the president of the United States part is going to get like thrown out. discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence. They say that they've proven that. I still don't know if I buy their evidence yet that he actually fired the gun. I haven't seen it. The video doesn't look like I couldn't tell that he actually fired or not. So we'll see what evidence they got for that. So I'd say that number 2 is the one that they're most likely to get a conviction on.
But to your point, boy, if that's the case, that is not the mindset that I had 10 days ago in that dinner, that whoever did this was going to potentially get off. It's just wild. Before we let you go, Meta back on trial in New Mexico, threatening to pull Instagram and Facebook in the state as the state pushes for major changes to how the company's platforms protect children online. The New Mexico Attorney General.
Okay, I don't really care about this part. So there you go, people. That's what's going on. That's the new word from the Cole Allen case. The judge apologized him. The judge is clearly some woke libtard who just hates patriots and wants the president to die, apparently, according to these people. I think that my theory, though, is something that the defense should take into consideration. That he was just trying to he's just a Second Amendment loving patriot who is just trying to give his gun to the president. That's what I think. That's a good defense. I'm standing by it. Okay, people. Let's see what we got now. I forgot what else I even put in my title, to be honest. I think I had Russia-Ukraine stuff. So let's watch this one.
Joined in the studio, I should say, by international.
Whoops. Okay. So we haven't really, honestly, I haven't really talked about Russia, Ukraine that much since I've been streaming, because it's kind of just been almost like a standstill. As far as I know, the battle lines haven't been moving that much. Russia still occupies a significant portion of Ukrainian territory. They might move a little bit, but not that much. And so this is going to be, I guess, the first thing that I'm really covering about it, as far as I remember. So I guess there's going to be there might be some truce proposals being made by Russia, both Russia and Ukraine. So we're going to learn a little bit about that. This is Ukraine's Zelensky slams Russian cynicism ahead of separate truces, by France 24 English.
Joined in the studio, I should say, by International Affairs Editor Angela Diffley. Angela, good to have you with us. Zelensky is clear that this ceasefire proposal from Putin has nothing to do with long-term peace, ultimately.
Yes, he says it's cynical and that it's really about providing protection for Putin's parade on May the 9th. That is when the Russians commemorate the end of the Second World War. They call it the war against fascism, the Great Patriotic War against fascism. That is when it is celebrated. Putin does not want any embarrassment, and therefore this suggestion of a ceasefire. It was the same last year. Zelensky has made the counter offer of a ceasefire starting at midnight on Tuesday, so that's tonight, and an open-ended ceasefire. And he's really underlining here, as he said many, many times, look, if you really introduce a ceasefire, then that's the end of the war to Moscow. You started it, you end it, that's the end of it. We have no interest in carrying on if you end hostilities. And that is behind his saying that if you want to, we will have a ceasefire. We can start tonight and you join in, and that'll be that, pretty much. So we can expect nothing very much from this. It isn't about peace, it's about gestures. It does, however, indicate, and Zelensky has pointed this out, perhaps that Putin is a little rattled by, we were hearing there in that short piece about Kyiv increasingly using these drones, which can penetrate very deeply into Russia. This is the third night in a row that it has sent long-range drones to Moscow. Central Moscow is fairly well protected by...
I didn't know about that. So I guess I know for a while they weren't even really attacking, the Russian homeland. I think that got... that America started allowing Ukraine to do that a while back. I can't remember exactly when. But the drone warfare is a new thing that is coming out of Ukraine, where they're kind of big. Well, it's funny. It's like they're catching up to Iran, it's kind of what it feels like. They're starting to realize as the, lesser power, and it's somewhat asymmetrical, manner, like, or in a somewhat asymmetrical war, where Ukraine versus Russia is more close to like peer-to-peer conflict because Ukraine is essentially just a vassal of America, but it is a smaller country with less men and less production capabilities and stuff. And in a war like that, it does to me seem like drone warfare is the way to go. Like cheap, easily producible drone warfare is the way to go. So Kiev is regularly hitting targets deep inside of Russia. I'm sure that's frustrating to Russia, but I don't think it really impacts the trajectory of the war. It's more just like for propaganda purposes, it's probably frustrating to them. And then it sounds like, especially on so this truce, maybe because they want that particular day, May 9th or whatever, to be a peaceful day of celebration for the Russians like incinerating the Nazis, which for those unaware, the Russians were like responsible for like 90% of the Nazi deaths in World War II. Like they went crazy mode. Or maybe, no, it was they lost, maybe they were responsible. They lost like 90%. I can't remember. I'll have to look that up.
It's air to surface to air defense missiles. But just the other night, a big apartment block, a major apartment block in a high-end area was hit. There were no casualties. But perhaps it suggests that...
Okay, I was basically right. This is AI overview. Take it with a grain of salt. The Soviet Union was responsible for killing 75% to 80% of German military forces during World War II. So yeah, like 80% of the Nazis killed were killed by Russia. That's why, if anybody should celebrate like, the end of World War II or like the defeat of the Nazis, it should be Russia. They were the biggest component, or like the Soviet Union, I guess. Russia isn't technically the Soviet Union, but they were the biggest component in defeating the Nazis.
Area was hit. There were no casualties. But perhaps it suggests that Putin is starting to feel the impact of these hits on Moscow directly. The ceremony is very much pared down compared to in some years in the past. No really big military hardware on display.
And there is some concern in the meantime, Angela, that, in Europe, as this drags on, Putin might try, if you will, a direct challenge to NATO.
Yeah, there is more and more talk about this. The idea that as it's a bit of a stalemate and neither side, or certainly Putin, is ready for negotiations, that he might try another tactic completely. And we've seen Donald Trump removing those 5,000 soldiers from Germany. He has also said, Trump, that the missiles sent, the long-range missiles sent by Joe Biden to Germany, they too are to be moved. And there is some suggestion that if the midterms go badly for Donald Trump, and he therefore decides to double down on his lack of support for NATO, which is often a popular move amongst his MAGA base and some others, then Putin really might see a window.
That's me. I'm the some others. I don't like NATO. I want it to go bye-bye.
Of opportunity. Europe is not really fully ready to stand up for itself without the United States. But it wouldn't be a major incursion into a NATO country, much more likely to be something very ambiguous, where NATO members then begin to disagree amongst themselves about whether any such move, it might be something, for example, the idea is being suggested of some attack on a small island or a drone attack in the Baltic, where then NATO members begin to disagree amongst themselves. He would be then sowing division. They would disagree about whether that really meets.
This is just, sorry, this whole portion is just classic Euro fantasizing about like the evils of Russia. They get really paranoid about Russia in general. Russia, like obviously Russia is behaving like an imperial power right now when going after Ukraine. Like that's bad. I disagree with that. But Russia does have like reasons for doing that. And it's primarily to create a buffer between America's military bases and them. They don't want America's like military bases, and they don't want NATO encroachment right up against their territory. I'm sure that if anybody just put themselves in Russia's shoes, like they would understand why that is like not that good. If China was building military bases all over the Canadian border, I think a lot of people would have a problem with that. And so like Russia isn't just going to start invading all of these Euro countries just to invade them and cause havoc. It's not like Putin is some madman. I mean, he is like a narcissist. He is like a Trumpian type figure or whatever, but he's not like I would say he's not as like he has strategies and goals in a level that is probably more than Trump, to be honest. And so more competent than Trump when it comes to strategy. So he's not going to be invading Germany anytime soon. He's not going to be invading France here anytime soon. This is just kind of the hysterics of the Europeans who can't help misremembering the Soviet Union and communism as being the bane of all things good or whatever.
Amongst themselves, he would be then sowing division. They would disagree about whether that really meets the threshold.
But I guess, I mean, maybe he would do something small like that. I don't necessarily maybe he would do something small like that to test the waters for NATO. I'm still not so sure, though.
For NATO, for the Mutual Defence Pact, that Article 5, where each NATO member has to come to the aid of all of the others in the event of an attack. And so it would just create division.
I assure you that's not going to happen. At this point, there's no way. If a NATO country gets attacked, America will not come in and protect them. I don't think. I really don't think so. Given the disdain that is shown for all of these countries, I really don't think that would happen. I think that NATO is already dead. We're just kind of all we're doing Weekend at Bernie's with its corpse right now and just propping it up and pretending like it's still a thing.
Vision, and would erode, he would hope, support further for NATO, for Ukraine within NATO. That is something that some people think he might do. On the other hand, does Russia have the bandwidth? It might be another way of having some sort of leverage for him as well, if he has another theatre of military activity going on that he could then use as leverage. But there are many NATO members who feel that's extremely alarmist.
And just looking at this in a broader context, Angela, how has the Iran war impacted the Ukraine war?
Yeah, it has somewhat. I mean, firstly, Russia has benefited in terms of income from oil. It has got...
We unsanctioned all of their oil in order to keep the market somewhat propped up with a different source while we engaged in our act of aggression against Iran.
A significant injection of cash from oil sales. And it's also benefited really from the fact that, the world's eyes are very much concentrated on Iran. There is less of a focus on what's going on in Ukraine. That is useful. That said, Volodymyr Zelensky has also been able to exact some usefulness out of this. He was very quick to go to the Gulf states and say, we can offer our technology and our expertise in how to use drone warfare. And in return for that, he has asked for their diplomatic support and some good deals on energy. And those ties are very likely to deepen with those Gulf states and Ukraine. However this all pans out in Iran and Ukraine, they won't want to too much incur the wrath of Russia because many of them are in OPEC or OPEC plus with Russia. And so they won't want to incur the wrath of Russia too much.
I don't know, man. I never trust anything Zelensky does, to be honest. I think that he's really bad at this. I think he's really bad at viewing viewing things from a actual strategic objective perspective and making good strategic decisions. I think that he tends to bungle a lot. So we'll see how this shakes out, if this is a good idea for him to be doing.
But it is very likely that those Gulf states will be interested in maintaining some sorts of accords with Ukraine afterwards. That is good from Ukraine's point of view.
Okay, well, there you go. That's the new updates from Russia, Ukraine. So let's see, what else this one should be pretty quick. Let's watch this one.
Maryland is...
So this is one that I wanted to get to because I kind of wanted to talk about the actual the problem that they're talking about here. So I don't know if you guys have heard about dynamic pricing. For those unaware, if you like you've definitely seen it in like Uber, right? If you're at an event with like a bunch of people, the Uber prices go through the roof, right? Like it's that sort of stuff. Or I don't know. It's like that kind of thing, basically. So they've been doing this thing now where they're trying to roll out dynamic pricing for like grocery stores and stuff, right? Where they have like digital displays and they will adjust the price like based on like who is buying it or whatever, which seems like obviously this should be illegal or whatever. And I guess Maryland agrees with me, because this video is called "Maryland Becomes First State to Ban Dynamic Prices in Grocery Stores." So let's all have a little victory lap, at least for Maryland, to be the first state to actually ban this shitty practice.
And Maryland is banning dynamic pricing on groceries and food delivery. AI is making it easier to change prices in real time based on customers' personal data. Now, Maryland is becoming the first state.
Yeah, AKA like dystopian. Like this is hell. Like this is what, if you've ever watched dystopian movies, like this is 100% an aspect of it. You're surveilled 24/7. They know every single habit that you have, and then they're like, oh, this person buys gummy nerd clusters all the time, and so my wife said hey because I was talking about her. but yeah, so you buy gummy nerd clusters all the time, and so when you go in there, the price, like, and you start looking around for your candy, they like scan your face and they're like, oh, this person, they love gummy nerd clusters, and then they bump the price up from like $1 to $2 or something. Well, my wife says she would buy it, but which is exactly why we need this regulation to not allow it to happen. She says she's weak to capitalism. I'm not. I'm here. I'm fighting the fight for I'm protecting all those who are unable to protect themselves from capitalism. Okay, anyway, let's keep watching this.
To ban the practice, Elizabeth Schelsey has more on what could be a growing trend.
Hey, Diane, this is a big move to try to crack down on dynamic pricing when companies use AI to change prices in real time based on customers' personal data. So you might pay a different price than someone buying the exact same thing at the same time. Maryland just became the first state to ban dynamic pricing at grocery stores and with food delivery services. As of October 1st, any store that uses shoppers' personal information to charge higher prices risks facing a $10,000 fine. Last year, a small case study found that Instacart charged different prices for shoppers buying the same foods at the same time. After backlash, Instacart later said it ended those pricing experiments. There have also been concerns with Walmart's shift to digital price tags in all of its stores by the end of next year. The retailer says that prices are the same no matter who is shopping. There is clearly...
Yeah, again, the problem is, okay, so this is like one state made this legislation. The only way to actually stop this, though, will be like a full nationwide ban or whatever. I would say it should be like a federal, I would say this should probably be a federal thing, because there's going to be lots of states that are going to cave to the capital interests of their, of our pedo billionaires. So like there are going to be people. There are going to be like red states in particular probably that are going to allow this. So I think that this needs to be like a federal piece of legislation. It's obviously evil. It's obviously price gouging. It is like I don't know, man. I'm almost like, sometimes I'm astounded at like the straight up dystopian like sci-fi capitalism like levels that we're getting to now, where they're trying to like update the price dynamically on these like digital price like checks or whatever, based on who's buying it. It's crazy to me.
Some momentum on this. Dozens of other states have introduced legislation to try to ban dynamic pricing, including at grocery stores, or to force companies to disclose if they are using this strategy. Some consumer advocates actually say Maryland's law doesn't go far enough. For example, it doesn't apply to prices associated with stores' loyalty programs. While an Association of Maryland Businesses is pushing back, they say grocery stores don't engage in individual price gouging, and dynamic pricing is more common in industries like hotels, rideshare apps, and to airlines. Diane.
Elizabeth Schelsey.
Should be illegal in those two, to be honest. I mean, you could, I guess, make an argument that that in ride sharing, like, you want to incentivize more people to go drive to that area if there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, maybe you could make that argument, but when it comes to grocery stores, like, that is just straight up like just like nickel and diming you, like, all, like, 24/7 everywhere you go. It, like, I do not want to live in that world. If, like, we need to stop this. So I'm glad that Maryland did it. I hope that more states do it. And I would really prefer if Congress, you know, got their shit together and was able to pass, like, one piece of legislation that isn't the one bill they pass every year to, like, balance the budget. Like, I wish that they could pass an actual piece of legislation that would be good for the people. That would be great. Okay, let's go and move on to this one's not really news stuff. This is we're gonna go check out the Met Gala, people. I don't know anything about the Met Gala. I know they dress up in fancy costumes. I kind of just want to see what they are, and I will give my opinion on whether I like it or not. This is going to be a really chill video that we watch here, unless I get heated about how stupid it is. But let's go ahead and watch this. We'll see some outfits, and we'll see if my Midwest ass thinks that they have good style. As you can see, I am the arbiter of style in a graphic tee and a fucking baseball cap. So you can trust me, people. The most OMG looks. These are OMG looks. So if you're not saying OMG, then I'm gonna write a mean comment to these people. Okay, are they starting yet, or? Okay, no, this is just the intro. Okay, here's one. That one is kind of cool. I won't lie. Okay, let me go back. Let's do it from the top here. Not here. Not here. Oh my gosh. Here. They got, like, this, like, futuristic face covering thing that she opens up like she's like a fucking like robot from that one. What was that movie? I can't remember now, man. I'm so bad at remembering stuff. So, but yeah, and she's got, like, the nun cover. I dig this one. This one's rad. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Okay, Emma Chamberlain. That's Emma Chamberlain. She looks so different than I remember. Okay, what do we think about this one? I like the frilly bits on the arms. I think that's cool. Very, like, painting-esque. I feel like she's like a painting right now. You know what? I'm gonna have to, I think, give it like a 6 out of 10. I think that last one was better. Okay, Sam Smith. He's the guy that's like the take me to church guy, right? I think so. You know what? I don't want to be like I don't want to be anti-man here, so I'm gonna go ahead and give him also an 8 out of 10 to balance out with the first one. I need to be neutral here, okay? That one's kind of basic to me. It's very sequiny. Reminds me of when I was in high school. You had, like, the dance team and stuff. They had a bunch of sequins on them. For giving me that memory, I was gonna give her a lower score. I'm gonna bump her up to a 5. Sunday Rose Kidman Urban. What a name. A model. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not digging this one. It looks like she just put a bunch of, like, pipe cleaners together, or, like, big giant pipe cleaners. Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 out of 10 on that one. No, 3 out of 10. Okay, this one is badass. This is like a skin you would get in like a fantasy game, or like WoW or something. Like, this is like the like the final boss of a dungeon or something that you're playing in WoW. Can't you see someone coming out looking like this? Maybe without the giant cape or whatever. I mean, how many like rabbits? What is that made of? How many wolves did you have to kill for that? But yeah, this thing is sick though. It's got like a reverse spine on the front. No, this is rad. I like this. Go Beyonce. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Okay. Gwendolyn Christie. I like the creep factor here. I like the creep factor of the face with the mirror. I'm not a huge fan of the dress though. The hat is, I mean, the hat's kind of cool. 6 out of 10. I gotta keep this moving. Okay. Luke Evans, actor. This is a classic hot cop, gay bar. You're going out to the gay bar. You're going to see 20 people that look just like this. I'm giving it, not that original. Sorry, gay people. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. Naomi Osaka, professional tennis player. This is pretty sick. I won't lie. This is sick. What is this effect that's going around her? Like, how did they do this? It looks like she's got like rose petals swirling around her. This is 9 out of 10. Really cool. Oh, outfit change. It got worse after that. Okay, this is cheating. This is cheating. You can't do this. This is a whole ass other person, okay? I'm judging these two individually. I can't judge them as one outfit. That is cheating. I'm sorry. Okay. Cool concept, but I'm sorry. It's a 3 out of 10 and a 1 out of 10. This person up here, every college football game I've ever gone to has had 100 people dressed exactly like this. So 1 out of 10 for him. Honestly, just a 2 out of 10 for her. I'm sorry, I can't judge them together. That would be cheating. We can't have this. We can't have like 100 people come out and all be one outfit. That's not. We got to draw the line, okay? Sorry, Jordan. Whoa. Okay, that's like steampunky. I don't know if I like it though. I'm gonna be honest. 4 out of 10. Okay, this is like Heidi Klum. This is like something from like The Shining or something. This is just someone who's going to. Is that Alyssa Liu behind you? Show me Alyssa Liu. I want to. Her outfit's not as crazy, I guess, as this lady's. I like the scary vibes. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that it kind of like merged in with her face. I'm gonna bump it up to a 6 out of 10. Okay. Who is that? Lisa? Is that Blackpink Lisa? I don't know. Just looks like you got a house over you, a tent over you. I like the sparkles. That's 3 out of 10. The hands are cool. 4 out of 10. Sorry, I'm getting more jaded as I go because I've seen so many cool things already. So my scoring has been going down. That's Katy Perry. I like the concept, but I'm sorry, I am going to judge because I don't really like Katy Perry that much. So, the face removal concept is kind of cool. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Eileen Gu. She's made out of bubbles. She's Bubble Girl. 4 out of 10. Whoa, okay, that's pretty metal. Ananya Burla. I love the mask. The outfit itself, though, is bringing it down a little bit. I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. Okay. I feel like this is a statement or something. It's not a very good statement. I feel like I don't know what she's trying to say. Maybe if the dollar sign, if the dollar bill had Donald Trump's name on it, I'd like it a little bit. Anyway, this one is gonna get I'm gonna be honest, this one's gonna get like a 2 out of 10 from me. I don't really like the color, and I don't really get it. And because I don't get it, it makes me mad, okay? I don't like when I don't get things. 2 out of 10. Patrick Schwarzenegger. The Schwarzenegger's son? I thought well, maybe this is a different son. I don't know. The half jacket, not doing it for me. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. 1 out of 10. This sucks. Am I wrong? This sucks. This is the worst one I've seen so far. Bad Bunny. Is he that old? Is he like, is this, maybe I'm, Bad Bunny, he's not that old, right? Is this just him? This is just him getting an old person makeup? Is that it? Man, these ones have sucked. The 3 out of 10. If it is makeup, I guess that's impressive makeup, but it's the outfit isn't doing it for me. Okay, here we go. This is a 9 out of 10. This is amazing. I like this one a lot. It's very elegant. It's got these little flowers on top. Got the little danglies. I love little danglies. That's great. Who was that? I don't know. Madonna. Okay, Madonna. This is pretty cool too. Okay, I'm not going to count all of these people's into my assessment, but I like their little veils. I think that's cool. Her little tiny French horn and a full ass like pirate ship on her head. Okay, Madonna. I'm picking it up. It's kind of goth too. Okay, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Sabrina Carpenter. Okay. So she's really going for that, that 40s, what are they called? Flapper girl like vibes. Which I think she's been really leaning into that like older aesthetic as well. I am a Sabrina Carpenter fan. She can do no wrong. And because she can do no wrong, she gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Blake Lively. 2 out of 10. Kylie Jenner. Okay, we got some nip action. It's like she's naked from the waist up. Because she's like halfway dressed, I'll give her a 5 out of 10. Halfway up the number. How about that? Seems fair. Man, this no eyebrow look, is this like a thing now? I guess it's a thing now. Kim Kardashian. Okay. This one I'm kind of liking. I'm not going to lie. This gives me like Power Rangers vibes with like sharp nipples. Maybe there's a whole, like, I know they used to have those like cone bra things back in the day. Maybe that's making a comeback, that sort of style. So I am liking that. I think the bottom could use like a little bit more flair in my personal opinion. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, this is like a kimono. Oh, well, Kris Jenner. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let's go. This is like a kimono, cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation, gender appropriation. 2 out of 10. She gets a 2 out of 10. Kendall Jenner. Oh, whoops, sorry. That seems kind of basic to me. 3 out of 10. I guess the bra being visible is different, but a rider. Okay, whoa, this one's kind of cool. Being groped by metal hands. I dream about that every night. 6 out of 10. Okay, this is very Kiss vibed. Odessa. Odessa, brave with the underboob. For that bravery, I give you a 7 out of 10. Margot Robbie, very elegant, but kind of basic. I'm going back to a 4 out of 10 on that. Charlie XCX. She had a movie lately. I heard it wasn't very good. It's like a mockumentary, right? Like The Office. This seems pretty basic too. As 2 out of 10. Okay. The material, Doja Cat. This material is kind of sick. What, like latex? Or something? I need a full shot though. Oh, they didn't give me a full shot. Or that's as full of a shot as I'm gonna get. I like the material, 5 out of 10. Okay. Now this is what I'm talking about. What are these supposed to be? Are these what? Are these breasts? Are these buttholes? Are they buttholes? Is that what they're supposed to be? Okay, so she has 2 buttholes on her shoulders. I mean, I'm down. I think that that's pretty rad. Free the butthole, right? This is gonna get a 9 out of 10 from me. Anderson Paak. This seems basic. It's 4 out of 10. I like the hair. What's this? It's 2. Rihanna. Nah, not feeling it. Not feeling it. 4 out of 10. Oh. Well, that's Beyonce again. She might have had the best one. Did I give her a 10 out of 10? I can't remember. I gave somebody a 10 out of 10. And if I'm going to give someone a 10 out of 10, it's got to be Beyonce, right? I don't want the beehive coming after me. So there you go, people. Those are my reviews of the best, worst, and weirdest celeb looks. You can take that to the bank. Maybe if you were betting on which ones you thought I would like and which ones you thought I disliked on Kalshi or something, I wish you the best. I hope you made a lot of money. Just kidding, people. I don't think I'm on Kalshi. Or I don't think my Met Gala dress decisions are on Kalshi. Okay, let's read an article real quick. This one, it's kind of long, but let's go ahead and read it. Okay, this is so we're going back to politics world, people. Well, kind of. This is from The Intercept. I like The Intercept. I think it's a good publication. And sometimes I like to read and learn about the youth and how they're not okay. So let's read about it. This is Clavicular and the Right-Wing Project to Radicalize Young Men by Elaine Stevens. The popular streamer offers easy answers to why the world has left young men feeling unhappy and alone. Yeah, they have, or he has. Braden Peters, better known online as Clavicular, did not become famous by offering young men discipline in any ordinary sense. He became famous by selling them ascension. that promised that a better face, leaner body, harsher jaw, and ruthless optimization could buy them power in a world they believe has already priced them out. In April, that sermon hit a grisly wall, or more accurately, a floor, when Peters was hospitalized after a suspected overdose during a live stream in Miami. I covered that already, people. You can go see my opinions on that. Bloody and bruised, he later described the hospitalization as brutal. Yeah, I mean, he's on like so many uppers and stuff, man. Along with like I think he does like test as well. Like I think he does some sort of steroids. So yeah, I'm not surprised they ended up in a hospital. In the aftermath, Clavicular's online presence has unraveled. YouTube recently removed his channels for repeated policy violations, including linking to prohibited sites and attempting to evade a previous ban. Despite being pushed off major platforms, he doubled down, staging a stunt trip late last month with a group of young women to Little St. James, the private island once owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Why? God, dear God, what is wrong with you? This dude, he has the worst judgment of any person who has ever existed. So I guess YouTube banned him. I think he's on Kick now. So, you know, I guess you can find him over there if you want to watch someone destroy their life in real time. Now, that same pattern of boundary pushing has bled into the courts. Clavicular is facing a civil lawsuit in Florida from Alexandra Mendoza, who alleges battery, fraud, and emotional distress. Okay, I did not know that he had, you know, hit a girl or whatever. I honestly thought that like the worst things about him were just what he was doing in front of the camera. I didn't know that like behind the camera he was doing this shit. So yeah, that ain't good. Including claims that he injected her with a non-FDA approved substance during a live stream and engaged in non-consensual sex. Okay. Yeah, he's evil. That's not good. Still, the streamer seems to make news almost daily, most recently for reportedly entering into a club venture in Miami with a man with ties to the Israeli mob. And he's going like, what? He's working with like IOF, like former IOF people too. God. It's like he's trying to make me hate him even more. I used to think it was kind of funny until I read this paragraph. Like that's now I think it's like, oh yikes, dude. Like funny in like a you know, like he's destroying his life kind of way or whatever, like a shit show to watch. None of this ongoing ordeal is some tragic footnote to the Clavicular brand. It has been him reaching his final form, stripped of filters, a young man preaching mastery through chemical self-invention, then collapsing live on camera only to be slapped with subpoenas. The new prophet of male despair. Clavicular's movement lives in the vocabulary of looks maxing, hard maxing, and ascending, a lexicon born in incel-adjacent internet forums and now being pushed into the mainstream by TikTok, Kick, and algorithmic outrage. I won't lie. I've done my part in putting some of that language out there because I think it's so funny, man. I think that the maxing, anything maxing is funny. But yeah, looks maxing and mogging. I think mogging is hilarious. Looks maxing culture didn't emerge from nowhere. It grew out of the fringe online forums where users reduce attraction to power, status, and looks, obsessively rate faces, and turn self-improvement into unyielding, almost cynical hierarchy of attractiveness. I feel like they don't understand attractiveness. The moment you try to scientifically analyze attractiveness is the moment that it loses all meaning and it no longer applies. Like anybody who tries to characterize on a scale of 1 to 10 the attractiveness of people or whatever is automatically like losing their ability to actually like authentically find someone attractive. Like and also obviously it's subjective or whatever, but this sort of stuff, yeah, it really ruins any sort of like you know, like even just the very concept of attractiveness. His popularity stems from selling what he claims is the answer to a worldview born from the insular hodgepodge of pickup artists, anti-women forums, and involuntary celibacy groups, and he's dragged it into the spotlight. I've talked about it before, but there was a time where I read a book by a pickup artist back whenever I was in high school, because I was like, you know, I definitely could have been one of these guys who fell into the pipeline of like these incel people or whatever. And that's why I have a soft spot for like trying to pull people out of this like deranged worldview that they're going into, because it's not good. You're never going to find happiness if you go down this route. You got to be normal. Okay, people. the thing that got me out of it was just going to college and meeting different people. And I didn't take it that seriously. I just read the one book because I was feeling like insecure. Like that was the reason that I read it. And I thought it was cool the time that I read it. And then I, kind of grew up, went to college, and like became a normal functioning member of society. This is what these people do, is they keep people in a perpetual state of childhood, of high school, mentality. Which is not going to be good for their happiness. It's arrested development. He has promoted steroid use, bone smashing, injecting peptides, and even using meth as part of a savage self-improvement regimen aimed mostly at young men. For someone who does steroids, he needs to get a better body. I'm telling you. His physique is easily achievable, completely natural. So that's my advice to him, that if you're going to do steroids, at least look like you do steroids. He has also drifted openly around Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, and the broader online right, while insisting politics are for jesters, an insult in the looks maxing community. That juke is its own tale, because when a teenager builds an audience on hierarchy, humiliation, sexual scarcity, and racialized beauty standards, he's doing politics whether he says so or not. That's true. Being apolitical is kind of just a non-thing. It doesn't necessarily really, I don't know. That's my personal opinion, but it's not unheard of for a young man to throw himself into. It's also, saying you're apolitical is usually a way to just pretend like you're not a right winger in general. Unlike me, I am truly apolitical. I am an apolitical, common sense dude who believes in common sense things like overthrowing capitalism and seizing the means of production. Just common sense, everyday views. Okay, people. It's not unheard of for a young man to throw himself into the gym, practice self-discipline, embark on a rigid diet, and create a public-facing persona. I've imbibed on bodybuilding culture in my own life, but Clavicular's worldview is fueled by more than simple vanity. It is black pill nihilism and gym clothes. The black pill tells young men that the social order is fixed, intimacy is a commodified market, and the only thing left is to become more physically dominant than the next guy or accept your permanent irrelevance. In that mental framework, body maintenance becomes class warfare of the face. It is a triage in a mating economy. Clavicular did not invent male despair, but he has certainly monetized it to his own great success. That was very well said. I have nothing to add to that. Blackpilled. There's a reason this message is resonating. Clavicular. Okay, we're going to get into the actual, because the reasoning is that young men just don't have a vehicle towards success, and they've been told what they're supposed to do for success, and it's unachievable at this state in late stage capitalism. That's my personal opinion. But let's see what the people at The Intercept say. There's a reason this message is resonating. Clavicular's runaway to launch is an America where young men are more atomized and are worse off than their forefathers. Young American men are lonely, socially afraid, and increasingly detached from the kinds of institutions that once gave people identity outside romance and work. Gallup found that 25% of U.S. men ages 15 to 34 say they felt lonely a lot of the previous day, a higher number than young women and a second in the world among our peer countries. The 2023 Surgeon General's Advisory on Social Connection warned the country's broader epidemic of isolation is not merely personal but structural. Capitalism is an inherently isolating ideology. It is. Everything is individual. You're not allowed to think of things in terms of structural inequities or communal efforts. Everything is supposed to be individual under capitalism. And so this isolation that people feel is a direct part of that. The entire broader society that we have created is intended to keep people isolated. Particularly, I think of suburbs and stuff where everybody's in their own little home, isolated from their own little castle and barely ever talk to each other and stuff or whatever. There's lots of other aspects of it too, but that's just one at the top of my brain. Gone too is the era where men could feel like they were contributing to the community and world around them. A farmer could see his food nourishing his neighbors, a cobbler's work lived on the feet of his peers, and a doctor literally saved the lives of his local village. These are now nothing more than oral legends passed down from baby boomer and Gen X parents of the way it used to be. Yeah, because now a farmer exploits labor to maximize their profits, like giant corporate farms do that. A cobbler is now Nike, like like a machine built to to create as many shoes as low of a cost as possible, just high enough quality that people don't complain, and then ship them out to everybody at to maximize profits. And a doctor, don't even get me started. The commodification of healthcare is everybody's experienced that. So again, all of this, I mean, me, everything's capitalism's fault, but seriously, in this aspect, it really is. But it is also revisionist history. There is the part too many elders refuse to admit. A lot of men were raised to expect an unearned inheritance. It was an entitlement gained at the exclusion of everyone else. They were assured that stable work, baseline social respect, and starting a family would follow if they merely stayed on the tracks as a heterosexual yet basic white man. But the tracks have buckled. Economist Raj Shetty's work on mobility found that 90% of children born in 1940 earned more than their parents. For children born in the 1980s, that figure had fallen to around half. Meanwhile, wage growth for the top has badly outpaced the bottom 90% over the long arc of modern American inequality. That does not excuse reactionary politics, but it does explain why so many young men feel they were promised adulthood and handed precarity. I kind of talked about that before. The modern far right, which has stepped in to fill the space, I know what I want to talk about. There is a way to get a feeling of communal good, though. And that is to go out in your community and do some organizing, organize your workplace, or go out and create a food drop-off site for homeless people or something. If you go out and work with your community and try to just better society in whatever way you want to do. For me, it's by it's very labor stuff or electoral politics and whatnot. But you don't have to do what I do. But that is a way to get this sense of somewhere to put your effort towards that isn't yourself, that you need if you want to be a functional human being. The modern far right, which has stepped in to fill the space the erosion of our institutions and social fabric have left behind, understand something even modern liberals tend to flatten. Misogyny is not a secondary issue. It is foundational to the entire right-wing project. Researchers have described misogyny as a gateway into far-right radicalization, and scholars who research white nationalism have shown how great replacement ideology is soaked in reproductive anxiety, the fantasy that white decline is caused not just by immigration, but by women refusing their assigned breeding role in these circles. Women are not citizens. They are demographic assets and currency. That's a good point. I mean, I knew that it was foundational to their project, but yeah, they said it very well there. But as civil rights, reproductive rights, and immigration have expanded opportunities, life isn't so easy for the static white-bread young men of America. They now have to bring more to the table. It is why if you're talking about in terms of dating and stuff, yes, you can't just be at this point in time, you are not able to be a fucking loser and still, be assigned a woman to be your new mom after you leave your old mom. That era of society is gone ever since, capitalism has essentially forced women into a more working role. And obviously, I mean, clearly some women want to work, but it is more of just a necessity now. They now have a lot more say in who they end up with. They don't need to find somebody just to be able to use a bank or whatever like they used to. So yes, you need to work a little bit harder. It is why in Clavicular's talk of ascension doesn't just coincide with a rise in personal male beauty, but in parallel with right-wing manosphere attacks on what has been the perceived robbery of white male entitlements. It's no shock that much of Clavicular's vocabulary aims to diminish women, whom he publicly humiliates on his stream and reduces into self-serving chasers of status, making claims of centuries-old patriarchal domination as a societal good. It's an ethos that punches back at the external reality of his impressionable fan base. This is why Clavicular matters beyond his own cartoonish excess. He is not just some young misanthrope with a camera and a syringe. He is a clean vessel for a much older grievance. That sweeping social change has stripped certain men, especially but not exclusively cis white men, of an unearned ease their fathers and grandfathers treated as normal. That's true. I think that there's a lot of things happening. But also there is an aspect, I think, of, aesthetic, like focus, like just general focus of aesthetics that, like, in particular, high school aged men go through. High school aged men go through a phase. Like, I don't know if it's inherent to them. I don't know if it's societal. I don't know if it's capitalism's fault, like everything else. But high school men do go through a phase of like reactionary, like hyper aesthetics focused, like just like on average, not all of them, obviously, but on average, they go through this phase. I think the key thing is to have male role models out there that can capture their attention, but point their energy in the right direction. And that's where I always say, like, people like, I think Hassan do a really good job, because he looks like, just any, like the classic male, like attractive male masculinity or whatever, like the traditional masculine like look, but then he funnels these people into a more positive direction for change. And I think that someone like him would have been great to have when I was growing up, like when I was in high school, to watch, because then it could have helped me not even have like my little reactionary stint when I was back then. So, I think that like that sort of stuff is very important as well. Because a lot of people in America are just so hyper focused on aesthetics. I think it is important to have people who have an aesthetic, like an appeal, like to traditional masculine aesthetics, who is not necessarily preaching like this manosphere bullshit. I think that is kind of important. The disappearing man. The real theft here is spiritual. In a quixotic, that's a hard word, quixotic quest for authenticity, young men are instead being sold a playbook that must, are instead being sold a playbook that they must collapse themselves into tiny fixed archetypes: warrior, king, alpha, mogger, chat. In Clavicular's lane, and under the auspices of social media, the commandment is simpler still: become beautiful or become nothing. Conspicuously absent from that script are virtues like wisdom, tenderness, stewardship, restraint, humor, and even morality. Missing too is heroism, not performative strength, but the harder labor of standing against cruelty, telling the truth under pressure, protecting the vulnerable, and trying to tilt the world a few degrees toward justice. That's also very important. I always tell people there's nothing wrong with being like having power, right? Or like seeking power, as long as you're seeking power for good. And same with like projecting strength. Like, it's fine to project strength and have strength, but you need to do it for good. If you are using your strength to protect people who are vulnerable, if you are using your power to protect people who are vulnerable, that's a good thing. You should be encouraged to do so. And I think that sometimes, particularly liberals, sometimes can sometimes demonize like strength or power or like things like of that nature, without realizing that it's value neutral. If you're using it for good, it's a good thing. These people, the claviculars and stuff, are just using it for evil. But it should be encouraged. I think if we encourage that, I think that young people will be able to see, like, have a vector to use the things that they want to use in order to better society instead of make it worse. Like, I don't know. I think that it's important to encourage that. That is why the black pill philosophy and broader manosphere is antithetical to perhaps the most important tenet of true growth: courage. It is surrendered disguised as realism. It tells men to stop imagining themselves as builders of community, tasked with fighting unjust systems, and instead obsess over their social ranking. That is intentional too. The system that we have created in America is specifically designed to not allow men to, or like not tell men to use their strength and use their power to fight unjust systems or to organize in a collective manner. And so that is intentional. It is a feudal vision of manhood, with the body as castle, the whole world as an ever-present threat, and other men as rivals. That is the real cowardice of imagination at the center of Clavicular's rise, not that he tells young men to exercise, clean up, or care how they present themselves. Fine, groom yourself, build your body, take some responsibility, but do not confuse optimization with grit, and do not mistake a man begging his followers to buy into his despair for a leader of men. Very well said. Good job, Intercept. I liked it. Yeah, just great article. I think we had some good discussion there. Okay, let's get over to x.com, and then I got to end it. It's 6:30. I got to raid in an hour and a half, so I at least want a little break before then. So let's see what we got here. Oh, God, it's Physical Fitness Day with the most physical fit president that we have ever had. Our 95-year-old grandpa-ass, like... I don't know, overweight president. Let's see what he has to do, or what he's doing here. I don't know if I can listen to that. Yeah, I can't listen to that. Oh, they're officially restoring the presidential fitness test in U.S. schools. Okay, let's see President Trump. Let's see how many sit-ups he can do. Let's see him run a mile. I have a feeling that it might be kind of hard. Okay, what do we got? I don't know what this is. I guess they had a bunch of kids at the White House for presidential fitness, like this signing of like redeclaring presidential fitness legal again. I don't know. Okay, let's see what Kyle Pelosi has to say.
That coalition is cracking. At the same time, you still get a taste of there's a solid 32% of the public that's out there that are fucking mental, bro. They are deranged. They are demented. They have lost their minds. And they actively want pain and hurt and devastation. And they want evil. They want bad things to happen to people that they don't like. Yeah. And they are the worst of the worst, but they...
That's true. I mean, there are evil people. There is evil in this world. Oh, happy Cinco de Mayo. The best taco bowls are made in Trump Tower Grill. I love Hispanics. What do we think, people? Do we buy it? Why does he always do this pose? Okay, this is some Trump sycophant. It looks like a bowl of shit, dude. But okay, let's see what's going on here.
Of Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz, the area...
What?
One more time?
And the Revolutionary Guard have been very upfront about the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is leverage for Iran. I want to show you this map released by the IRGC, showing what they say is a widening of Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz, the area...
Okay, confirmed. Confirmed! We're having an impact. Strait of Hormuz.
You see?
Okay. I kind of thought that was what he was talking about, but I wasn't sure. So it's the Hormuz. Okay, people. Very, very important political commentating from the most important political commentator on the left, Hassan Piker. Thank you for coming up with these phrases. Okay, what else? Land sale. They're doing fucking Israel doing Israel shit. What's this?
You should be embarrassed if you went to the Met Gala, okay? It's being run by...
Should I be embarrassed for making content off the Met Gala? That's the question. I'm asking the people. Should I be embarrassed for making content off the Met Gala? Am I a bad anti-capitalist because I did that? I don't know. I leave it up to the viewer.
These two wannabe gigolos. There was still a genocide happening in Gaza. There was an ethnic cleansing happening in Lebanon. people in the US can't afford shit, can't afford gas because of Trump's war on Iran. I thought we had a ceasefire. Well, there was a short ceasefire, but then Israel yelled at Trump and told him to get back in. So we're back. But these two Jersey Shore cutouts, you can try to buy friends and a new wife and the Met Gala and try to deflect from the fact that you are still holding up a contract with the Amazon labor union after 4 years. But you guys are never going to buy class. You're never going to buy coolness. All the money in the world, Jeffrey, is not going to make us forget who you are. And of all the years to go, you decide to go when Bozo Bezos buys it. Embarrassing loser shit, truly. Anyway.
Okay. We'll move on. What's this?
What the fuck? What the fuck was that?
They're very smart. Almost like, oh, I'm just
What the? Yo! Hey.
Dude, Hassan's been up in his drip, man. He's going full suits. I don't know if I like it though, because I liked his like. I always thought Hassan was fun to watch because he always had a fun outfit on every day. If he goes to like full suit every time, I'm like, I don't know. That's a downside to me. Anyway, that's unrelated to what we're watching here.
Yo, what? What is he doing? Bro,
the Hormozy. He thought he saw the Hormozy.
This is a you know how like famously when president or presidential nominees would always go to the Iowa fair and they get snapped eating a hot dog. That's the only time you were supposed to see presidents in a freaky setting. Okay. Back in the day, we had decorum. Back in the day, the only time you saw someone who's running for president or someone who is the president in a freaky ass circumstance, specifically at the Iowa fair when they're.
Sure. Okay. Look at this clip, people. They say, "Cutie, please come back." They're talking about Cutie Cinderella. This is the Fear Ann podcast. As Will Neff does a double jerk off on his two co-hosts, and it goes crazy. What a gift, dude! This is that. You know why? I guess you know why they call it a GIF, right? Because it's a gift. It's a gift to everybody. This is a gift, and it is also a GIF. Okay, let's move on. What do we think, people? What do we think that last letter is? I hopo jodios. I hopo jodios. It must be Spanish. That's what it was. I'll give that a like. That was funny. That made me chuckle. The New York Times published an article and labeled as slopaganda. This is the Iran Lego propaganda people. Nice try, but throwing around a word like slopaganda is not going to stop people around the world from seeking the truth. Western propaganda crashed and burned. It's the time for for people-to-people diplomacy. Yeah, they're not slopaganda. What are you talking about? This is some of the most effective propaganda I've seen in a long time. If anything, America's propaganda machine is like turning into slopaganda. It's unable to even get the majority of people on board for their wars of aggression anymore. Okay, the next one I find that I like is going to be the end, people, because I got to pee really bad. What happened at the University of Michigan is bigger than one speaker and deserves more than an apology. Oh, God. Nikki Haley. It is well known that... Okay, here we go. I got to get into my my fake outrage voice. It's well known that Michigan has a large Jewish student body. The administration knew the speaker's record and still handed him the mic, leaving those students isolated and targeted. Protests on campus have repeatedly crossed the line. Encampments disrupted ceremonies, demonstrations at officials' homes, clashes with police. The First Amendment must be protected, but it doesn't absolve anyone of consequences. Universities have a deep culture problem that must address. If they don't, they should face repercussions. Yeah. If you in any way if you in any way decide to stand up to people in power and try to stop the genocide of Palestinians, Nikki Haley is out there, and she is going to sick her police dogs on you anytime you try to do that. Anybody who even thinks about protecting a brown person, if you even think in your head once about protecting a brown person, Nikki Haley is going to be out there, and she will sick her police attack dogs on you. So don't do it, people. That's basically what she's saying here, man. These people have no soul. They are I don't know, they're ghouls. Okay. I'm not gonna read that. Whatever. Okay. All clothing is unisex if you stop being a little bitch about it. I agree with that. It's like every pizza is a personal pizza if you try hard enough. That's another one. 13 minutes. Get out of here. Actually, insane lineup this month and Austin. I think these are all the people that Hassan interviewed. Why the fuck is Austin on here? Oh, all the lambs jumping off. Wow. And the problem is they're carrying all the non-MAGA lambs with them. They're taking everybody down. Sorry, I don't have time for that. I'm looking for something fun. Let's see this one. I rarely laugh out loud, but this had me laughing so hard. Okay, people, this could be it. I'm just letting you know, this could be it. How Christianity sounds to me as an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I am an agnostic, but maybe I will be able to relate to this.
God loves you so much that he will burn you up for not loving him back. And it's pretty simple, actually, because he created you as a sinner because he loves you and he hates sin. Okay, so he decided what was a sin and then put it inside you. And then you got to get it out, right? So he said, I'll send my son and kill him because the sin I put in you, I hate it. And I'll burn you up for it.
They're oversimplifying it a little bit, but there are some of it is kind of like a little bit metal almost.
And so he sent his son and then killed him so he could get rid of the sin that he put in you.
This ain't doing it for me, people. I'm moving on. Uh-oh. A new January 6th. Live January 6th is happening, people. Tennessee. I'm just kidding though. I think this is probably for the new Voting Rights Act, getting rid of it or whatever. These are probably just protesting for that. But I will say that if this exact demographic stormed the Capitol on January 6th, or like did just walk slowly like this up to the Capitol on January 6th, I think they would have been treated a lot differently. Okay, come on, people. Let's find something. What's this? That's 4 minutes. I'm sorry, Chapo. I can't watch it. This is illegal. They're arresting unless you can't see it. Sorry, if you can't see it. There's 4 numbers that I'm not allowed to say. I can say them separately though. The first number is 86 and the second number is 47. So if you like that's what, I don't know what it means though. Okay, people, I have no idea. For legal purposes, I do not know what that means. Okay, come on. What's this? I can't listen to that. Taking down the American flag. Okay, rolling it up. Seems a little unpatriotic, but you know, I don't know what he's going to do with it though. What's he doing? Okay, he's unrolling a new flag. Oh, a black flag. Okay. So this is Americans reacting to Israel's use of their government as it pleases have started hanging black U.S. flags on their homes. Maybe. I haven't seen this anywhere. Maybe that's a thing. I also know that like MAGA chuds often use like black flags whenever they feel like they're like under attack or whatever. I already watched Met Gala content. Okay, let's see here. Now, I saw one earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, this is like okay, so it was around, I think it was, sorry, I know which one that I think I want to end it on if I can find it. Come on, where is it? Here it is. Okay, people, this is what we're ending it on. I saw this earlier. I was going to start the stream with it, but I'm like, I got to pee so bad. I'm like, I'm using it. We're using this one, people. This is Trump showing these like 6th graders or whatever they are, 10th grade. I don't know how old they are. He's going to show them how to dance like Trump. And we'll see if they follow along. So let's watch Donald Trump teach these kids how to dance. Oh, there it is. Oh, they're all doing it. Okay. So kids, those new dance moves are going to come in great handy for you. Emphasis on come in hand. Okay. The double dick dance. It's my favorite Trump dance is the double dick dance. Okay, people, I gotta get out of here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you're watching the VOD, love you too. This has been Technically Clay, and the stream is technically over. Bye-bye.